The following program does not necessarily reflect the views of this network's owner, subsidiaries, branches, or even its pets, Froy and Ralphie. Anyone who argues with this is itching for a fight. Thank you, Michael Feldman.
Chris, Louie, I'm over here. I got a good place at the bar for us.
Oh.
Come over this way, this way.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, hey, let's
go,
bro. Yeah, dude, let's get some drinks.
It's been a long time. How you been?
Pretty good.
How you been doing today?
Yeah, man, we're just taking it easy.
Yeah. There's a lot of people here tonight. It's kind of crowded, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is crowded for a weeknight.
It was mellower last night. It was, there were maybe like 6 or 7 people here, and they had lounge music going on, and, you know, now they've got a little bit, there's more of a beat tonight. Let's go. I like the ambience. It's very dark, you know?
Yeah.
It's moody. I see the candles at each table, which is great. The food smells good, these appetizers that they're serving. So it's all, yeah, man, you know, it's good ambience.
I like this place.
It's a nice place to wind down, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Wind down. So it's, yeah. How you guys been?
Been pretty good.
Did you put in your rounds with the bartender?
Yeah, I just did. It's on its way.
Yeah, he's actually catching up. He's not slow tonight as usual. So.
Yeah, there you go.
So Louie, what have you been doing?
No,
I think it's been like a week I've seen you. So.
Yeah, you know, this place looks pretty nice. We could probably film a movie here one day. You know?
Well, we don't always talk about movies. I get away to not talk about movies, but I understand what you mean. I mean,
yeah.
Thank you.
Sort of natural lighting going on, and you know. Yeah. Did you tip the bartender? Because he'll be faster.
For the next round?
If you tip him, yeah.
Definitely tip him.
Warman, if you... Louie wants a drink.
Yeah, I'll take one. Cool, thank you.
Good.
I recognize that guy over there. I think, I mean, since we're on the subject of movies, I think he asked me to write a script like 10 years ago, and I didn't, you know, like I should have taken up. And now he's here, and he's drinking though. But I don't know, that's a good sign. He's drinking, and
That's good.
It looks like he's okay because I recognize that agent that he's with. You know,
What kind of script did he want you to write? What kind of genre?
Honestly, I don't know. It might have been a knockoff of some horror film or something like that. I don't know. I don't
remember.
Know. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So how are you guys doing? How's your oh, I think we're coming up on a holiday maybe. I don't know what the holiday is, but I always think that we're coming up on a holiday, you know?
Yeah, it's your birthday today. You're celebrating your birthday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, that's not a holiday. It's a national holiday.
It's a holiday for you.
Yeah, for you.
National, you know, so yeah. So we're good.
National holiday coming up. Well,
yeah.
is there a type of Flag Day coming up or something?
We have Thanksgiving coming up.
Is there a California Flag Day?
There should be. You're right.
Is it California Flag Day?
I think there's one for every state.
I know,
You
right?
know? There's so many holidays I can't keep track of. Like if you go on Google and they list all these dates, there's like all these holidays. It's like insane. I didn't even know that there's some of them didn't existed. It's crazy.
Well, new holidays are being passed all the time.
Yeah, but passed by who?
I know. Who's putting it on the calendar, right?
I don't know.
National Burger Day, National Pizza Day.
Dark leadership, I don't know.
National
I don't know.
Day.
Secretive, underground.
Oh, that writer, he's leaving now. Should I go up to him? Hey!
I don't know. He might get roped into something.
I remember you.
He's probably regretting, you know.
How long have you been going to this place?
Well, this is my first time.
Oh, first time?
This is my first time. Yeah.
What are you drinking? Are you drinking absinthe?
Yeah.
You forget that I took you here like a few months ago.
Really?
You remember that?
No, obviously I don't.
And you ordered I think you ordered the filet mignon, right?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, maybe you're refreshing my memory now. It's good to be back then.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
It's
like
very good to be back.
Place you can wind down and, you know,
Exactly.
talk about stuff.
Yeah, well, like you said, the music is good.
Yeah.
Atmosphere is good. You know, candles.
Sometimes I feel like I'm the bartender here. I say like, what's bothering you? What do you like? What's making you happy? Like I feel like I'm the bartender at times. But
So you're good at therapy then.
Yeah, you know. But sometimes Warman Fong is the, he's doing his job. So look he's got his nice tux and he's got the nice bow tie.
He does.
You know what I mean? He's walking dapper. Like watch how he walks as he's delivering drinks.
Yeah,
and
something
mixing
out of a
drinks.
movie, huh?
You know what I mean? Like he knows how to shake that martini.
Yeah.
it's
What do you guys like? Like
it's
a cosmopolitan?
cologne.
Do you like a cosmopolitan
Yeah,
or like
sure.
an apple martini? Or, I mean, what's your preference? Like, what kind of drink? Like, because I like cosmopolitan because cranberry. You know.
That's good. Well, my drink of choice lately has been old fashions.
Oh.
I like, there's kind of, you get ones, you get the drink with the ice cube that goes right in it, lasts the whole time. Kind of, you get, depending on what you have in it, kind of tastes, kind of wood-like. It's kind of comforting. So yeah, old fashioned because it's a good sippy drink.
No, I know you like that. What do they call it? The Russian mule or something?
Oh yeah.
And I always thought it was
Yeah,
like
Moscow Mule.
Moscow mule.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's Moscow, Russia, the same thing, right?
Yeah, same thing. But the drink's called Moscow Mule. There's also a Mexican mule you can get too. But the Moscow Mule is a good, it's usually cold. It's served in a copper mug, so it's nice and refreshing. It's ginger beer.
And I always thought that was like vodka and Sprite, but it's something else, like vodka and Sprite and something else.
Ginger beer
like
and
ginger-
like, yeah.
No, but there's like a
Lime.
second. There's like a second liqueur, like tequila or something. In that,
We see,
right?
okay, well,
right?
first of all, let me explain something about me and drinking. I'm the type of guy, and I'm serious about this. I just drink it. I usually don't know ingredients. Like, people will teach me how to make a drink, and I'll just say, just make it for me. I'm good. So I know certain ingredients in drinks, but other than that, I know that I'm kind of attracted to the ones I like. And obviously, when it comes to those, I like Moscow Mules, and of course, I used to drink Manhattans every once in a while. But now I'm on this old-fashioned kick when it comes to cocktails.
But like cocktails, like, I mean, I haven't been to like a speakeasy or like these kind of bars in a long time. But they sort of bring up the romanticism of like movies from like the 1950s and 40s, because that was the whole thing. Like Bogart would come by and have his little martini, and then like that.
Right.
That brings up a time sort of like that's gone now.
Right.
Because I was looking up, like, I collect like restaurant menus, dinner menus, and you see like their cocktail list, and there's like there's these exotic cocktails, and it just brings up, and these are menus from like 1950, 1945, even 1930.
Of course, the time of the cocktails.
And it shows you, like, I mean, it's pretty fascinating. Like, it just brought up the memories of, like, you could imagine Charlie Chaplin drinking, I don't know,
I think almost like a brandy type stuff, brandies
at Muslim Frank's in Hollywood, this restaurant we have in Hollywood that's
right.
it's been around for 100 years. So,
Right.
but anyway,
like the smokehouse too. You think
Smokehouse too.
near Warner Brothers
That's another
Studios?
one. That's another one. That's another one.
Used to be the Pig and Whistle off Hollywood Boulevard.
That's another one too.
Classic Hollywood
Exactly.
hangout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
those classic cocktails. So martinis, you had the brandies, whiskeys, vodka drinks.
right. I mean, the moment you walk out of this place, then you're in like this new world, and then you're dealing with a different environment and stuff. It's just nice to hang out here and you get away. Like you get away. Like
It's another world.
You get out of the hustle and bustle.
Like maybe we're at RKO Studios right now.
Well, people are hunting you down to write them scripts. So yeah, it is. Hey, we're gonna put you in the movies. We're gonna put you in the. Hey.
Yeah,
We're gonna be a big star someday.
Yeah.
Sign right here.
Yeah, Edward G. Robinson is a great actor. Perfect villain. If he's like Key Largo.
Yeah.
Like when you watch Key Largo, you don't realize like you're watching a filmization of a play, but he's so good in that, and Bogart's so good, and Lauren is so good in that movie. Like you're watching like this filmic play. It's pretty fantastic. It's amazing. And you don't get that kind of performances today. Like, can you name like okay, so who's the Clint Eastwood of today? Can you name that or?
Yeah.
I mean, like, gosh, anyone close to him? Like, well, he hasn't done any westerns really, but I mean, like Mel Gibson was kind of like the Clint Eastwood, James Dean,
Yeah, I mean, but would you say he has that sort of classical, that classical
body of work.
that classical oomph that
Yeah.
I guess like Eastwood's contemporary was Burt Reynolds, for example.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Obviously Paul Newman, right? Paul Newman.
Paul Newman. Oh yeah,
and,
fantastic actor. Paul Newman.
You know, Redford, of course.
Mhm.
And so like you've got those like four guys.
Jeremiah, what's it? Jeremiah Johnson.
Jeremiah
That
Johnson.
was a
Yeah,
good movie.
yeah. So then you got it, like, you know, and that's a group of them. It's arguable that Reynolds was a really part of that. I would say, like, you could easily say Redford, Newman,
Right.
you know,
I think overall they did more.
Eastwood, right?
Yeah.
You could say that.
Yes,
You could
yeah,
say that.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Burt Reynolds was a little more different role where he was more of a comedic in certain ways, but he was associated with those car movies, whether obviously Smoking the Bandit, but then before that he had, you know, Gator, you know, the movie. What was the movie when he was a stuntman?
Smoking the Bandit, right?
That one, but there was another movie. He was a stuntman. Was it Hooper?
Hooper.
So he was so. I mean, and as great as Burt Reynolds was for those movies and stuff, Clint Eastwood obviously crossed a lot of lines. He did, you know, the spaghetti westerns to Dirty Harry and a lot of action movies, and of course, to some really serious stuff. You know,
It's interesting with like Eastwood though, like he was sort of, I won't say he was an unknown because he did like Revenge of the Creature. He did Rawhide, right?
the TV show,
right?
right?
Basically, like
yeah.
basically all, you know, if you could say like his career up until that time was always Western stuff. It was Western centric, perhaps.
Yes.
And then they fly him to Italy, and then he does like the Dollars trilogy, right?
Yeah. Right.
And he becomes this big hit. Like he becomes this big hit for the
Internet.
For, you know,
Yeah.
you know, and people didn't know what the spaghetti western meant at the time. That wasn't really a term. I don't think in 64, 65.
Sure. It just it was coined that
So
later.
then what do? They bring him back to Hollywood. They bring him to Hollywood back to do another western.
Yeah.
Or two westerns.
Right. Yeah.
And so it wasn't until Dirty Harry that he actually like
kind of broke through,
then,
broke out of.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. You know, by the time he was like 40,
Exactly.
41.
Exactly.
41.
And then I mean, and you look at his span as a career. I mean, then all those movies talked about. Then there was like kind of the comedic ones, Any Which Way You Can, Any Which Way
Right.
You Get Loose, and then of course Escape from Alcatraz. I
Right.
always liked when I was a kid.
And by the way, people poo-poo like Every Which Way But Loose, but I like that movie.
It was very entertaining.
They poo-poo
though.
it, so, like, you
that
know.
was- yeah,
Yeah.
very entertaining. Yeah. He was a prize fighter, you know, or he
Yeah.
would fight for money. So it was kind of a.
I gotta go to the restroom. You guys talk amongst
Okay.
yourselves
We will.
about what you guys did today.
Oh, okay. So, Louis, what did we do today?
Man, we just wrapped up on a movie, you know?
We did. Yes, we
Yeah.
wrapped up on a movie. We
Two
were
movies,
working on two
technically.
movies, two
Yeah.
movies at the same time.
Right.
Yep.
Majoid Origins and Feral, right?
Mhm.
Say
Yes.
that, right? Feral.
Yeah.
Yeah, with director Rich Mallory. They wrote those both movies and directed.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were at Four Heart Studios in Sylmar today, in the sweltering heat, but we got our last day of production done.
Yeah, it's always fun and a blessing to do the production, but to work in a studio where it's 100 degrees, no AC, pretty freaking
It's
brutal.
that's why we're out tonight at the bar to
Yeah.
unwind.
Unwind, yeah. But it was great. We have a fantastic team, cast and crew. And
Cast was great.
they're all
crew, everyone.
troopers and gun ho. Like they see the bigger picture.
Mhm.
You know, they know how to see through the fog of production and
Right.
and get stuff done. You know?
Right, exactly. Well said.
That's it, yeah.
And
Thank you.
we'll be getting these
I'm
movies
back.
out
It was
soon.
a false alarm.
Oh, good that you're back.
It was a false
Give
alarm.
us a beat. But we did talk about our day, so we
Oh,
covered that, Greg.
What'd you do?
Yeah.
Now that I'm retired.
Yeah. we're really not retired. I'm saying that 3 hours ago we were wrapping it up
Oh, good.
on our productions.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to shoot something. Like, it's like, you know, there's a lot of planning. Things don't, things don't go always the way they should be. And, I mean, a perfect example is you watch the movie Day for Night, the Francois Truffaut, like, it's like things don't work out.
Mm-hmm. That's
Like
exactly how it is
actresses
in production.
or actors don't know their lines, and the cameramen don't know what they're doing, and there's always things like that. So you just try to like put it's like basically like I think we call ourselves like firemen's, like
Putting
firemen.
out fires,
and so you want to
problem solving the whole time.
and you just want to you're always troubleshooting
Yeah.
constantly.
Like we thought we were out of toilet paper today, so I ran to the store, got toilet paper.
Oh,
we actually
that's
had
right.
some toilet paper.
That's
yeah,
right.
but
That's
as
right.
a producer, that's what I stepped up, right?
And you forget these things. You forget the things that
Yeah.
like the last thing
The
last
details.
thing that you would think of would be like toilet paper is needed on a set.
Right,
Towels.
right.
But
So-
it's you
Some
got
studios you need to bring it yourself.
So that's where a fireman comes in.
Exactly.
Or
So
a
that
Boy
was
Scout.
a nice little fire.
Boy Scout, be
Yeah,
prepared.
yeah, exactly.
And I was an Eagle Scout, so.
Right. I think I went up to Weeblo. I was a Weeblo for a while.
What does that stand for? We belong to loyal or something like
So, yeah,
the acronym.
My goodness, it's been decades, but yeah. So, just like my drinks, I just knew I was there. Don't know how I got there, but yeah.
Wow.
More people are coming in now too.
Yeah.
It's getting
I
a
see
little more
them,
crowded
yeah.
now. It's
The
getting
drink's
later.
pretty good, right?
Yeah, I smell the food. Do you know they serve ramen here actually? So it's pretty.
I heard they have a pantry full in the back.
It's pretty interesting. They have an eclectic menu here. Like
They
I don't
do.
know who's eating it. Like I don't think that goes well with martinis, but it could. You never know. Like maybe I would say like I would have. Maybe I'd have a cosmopolitan with ramen, and
Yeah.
it would be the greatest thing since sliced bread. I don't know.
I think for me, it's like after a night of drinking, then you go to the ramen.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
Same
fill the
thing,
stomach
yeah.
up a little.
Okay. Oh.
You know,
I mean-
like usually after a night of drinking, we'll get like pho. You know, the Vietnamese
Okay.
noodles, the soup, and all that. That's like perfect for hangovers. You know,
Oh.
but the udon and the Japanese noodles is just as good. You know, but I do prefer pho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, Warman,
Where you live.
we want another round. How was your day, Warman? Really? Oh, well, there you go. Well, you're looking dapper in that tux, the black tie. You know? Yeah, just like your dad. You know, his dad ran this famous cafe, this restaurant in Chinatown called the Hong Kong Cafe, and it was.
Yeah.
It was basically like one of the first LA nightclubs that started punk, you know,
Oh,
and,
wow.
and there was a rivalry with a sister restaurant that his father didn't know called Madame Wong's, and they were fighting over artists, you know, like who got the Kinks, who got that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, who got the Sex Pistols, and then they
You
would
know.
fight and literally and try to beat people. Well, she would have people beat up in her parking lot who didn't want to sign with her. So,
Right.
so I had that for an idea of a movie at some point. But you know, it's what it is. Like, you know, I mean,
Not for the guy that wanted you to write the script, but for another your own project. I mean, punk is one of my favorite genres of music, actually. And
Yeah.
I mean, the Kinks definitely, even from the '60s, they definitely
Right.
there's music from the '60s. They had those punk elements, and they're a great live band too. If you ever look up the
Okay.
Kinks on YouTube, some of their live stuff,
There's also
I
Johnny
wish I
Rotten.
could've-
I don't know Johnny Rotten, but
Sex
you know.
Pistols?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Johnny
Sex
Rotten. Yeah,
Pist-
yeah, yeah.
One of my favorite punk bands, of course, was the Clash.
The Clash.
So the Clash.
Yeah.
I mean, all from that
Yeah.
era.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
They put out a lot of good music, and but they maybe had maybe 4 or 5 albums or something, or 4 if that, and then.
Yeah, I mean, it was
did.
you know, what's fascinating about that time is like, and what's surprising too is like, okay, so the recording industry had been existing for 80 years, and then you have punk, and the majority of like the punk audiences were listening stuff off of bootlegs, because that stuff wasn't technically published. I mean, it was legally published, but they would hear of bootlegs,
Right.
and that started that whole bootleg movement
Right.
in the 80s,
Right.
You know, like the East Coast, New York,
Yeah.
and you could, and
Right,
you know, they would
right.
listen to all this stuff like recordings done at these cafes, like Warren's dad's place, and you know, and,
They would bootleg this stuff.
and that was
right.
and that was the thing. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I know there were like Beatles bootlegs in the 60s when they would perform, but like the
Yeah.
80s stuff, I think like mostly if you wanted to hear some of these early bands, was through like a bootleg.
Sure. And I know, like, talking about bootlegs, I know, and they encourage it. I think it's known that the Grateful Dead encouraged people to record their
Yeah.
concerts or music, and at that time it was tape recorders or whatever recording devices. It wasn't like this day, you know,
Right.
digital. But and they didn't mind that, and then you would get bootleg live shows and stuff. Yeah.
I think, like you see, I don't know if you're, I mean, this is not about punk, this movie, but there's a movie called Diva. It's a French movie from like 1981, and by Jacques Jean Annaud, who did Jacques Benet. I'm sorry, Jacques Benet, who did Betty Blue, who'd go on and do Betty Blue afterwards. It's about this bootlegger, and he's recording this opera singer who never wanted to be on a record before. And so, like, he owns it, and like people are coming after him, but the drug dealers think he recorded a secret message, like a drug dealer. So they're going out, but it's the wrong tape. He actually recorded a bootlegger for performance. But the process of like how he's recording her, like the movie opens literally at her first concert or whatever, and you see him winding the magnetic quarter-inch tape into his into his Niagara, because there was no iPhone at that time. There were these big machines, because I mean I recorded on them on my first movies that were shot in 35 millimeter, like, and you see him winding the tape, and he's got to hold it like he looks like a postman. Like I think he pretends he's a postman.
Does he have a strap like around his
and he presses
shoulder?
it, and he presses it and secretly records the recording. It's like you don't like the technology has changed so much that you could do a bootleg for anybody now. Like you could do, you could. I mean, I wonder if somebody did Billie Eilish bootleg and published some LPs, what would happen? Like,
Right. These days, you have a team of lawyers that would come down.
Well, I don't know. I mean, but some
people might get away with it.
Some people have like record record pressers in their home.
Right, and they could manufacture them and label them.
But what would be
whatever.
the point, though? That's not exciting anymore.
It isn't. Well, especially the music industry is so different now.
So,
And I think the other big difference too is that with everything you get your iTunes or your Apple Music, whatever, and people tend to now to like just get singles and stuff. I mean, back in our day, you'd listen to a whole album or tape from beginning to end, with even a concept album like Pink Floyd The Wall or something. Anything like that. Now it's just, I mean, maybe Taylor Swift, maybe someone listens to the whole thing.
Well, remember, like at Tower Records back then, you used to be able to listen to the album up on the wall.
You could sample it. You could same like Virgin Megastores and stuff. You could do the same thing.
I remember that.
Yeah, so you could sample it.
And then you go hunt for that, CD or cassette tape. And
I wonder those listening stations, and I think the new generation that's listening to this don't understand what that meant. That literally they had headphones. Yeah. There were maybe
even the
top 10 CDs that you could hear. Right. And you would just stand in front of the thing and listen to the song and just click and say, do I like it? Do I like it? I wonder how much was that occupied by somebody standing for an hour. I highly doubt it. I think people were much more respectful at that time. But it was a great way to like sample stuff, which was pretty cool because I might have like sampled like Brian Eno at one of these stations, and I said like, "This sounds good. This is great. This is good. Like I'm gonna." And because like that station never had like the top 10, it had like.
But Brian Eno was so alternative
it had a mix of stuff.
Right. So not just like the top, like the Billboard Hot.
Yeah.
Like
it might have had "This is Madonna's greatest hits from the past 10 years," and you could sample that, or it might have had "This is the new recording of Bolero" or something. Yeah.
And the thing with Brian Eno is not only is he such a good musician, but also he helped produce Talking Heads and U2 albums, and he just brings like a unique, just like beautiful music, a synthesizer, anything.
I miss Tower and Virgin Megastar.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a good Virgin Megastore on Sunset Boulevard. Yeah, I used to go to right near the Laugh Factory, and I used to go there a lot. And you could just go, like you said, they had all these stations. You could, and at that time it was probably back in the '90s. So
and there were books, there were magazines.
Yeah.
All the heavy metal magazines and all that back then too. Remember
publications, all that.
I think the last time I went to like a Tower Records, I think like when they went under, it was changed to FYE or something. What was it called?
I think they merged into FYE. Yeah. Well, and then FYE was owned by Suncoast. Well, it was FYE Suncoast, and there was like a third one.
Right.
And then you couldn't, they were all merged and like. Yeah. But believe me, it was never the same tower.
It was like
it wasn't. Yeah. It was never the same tower that you knew, where you could walk. I remember they had a classical section, and
you go to the rock and roll, or you go to.
Remember the one in Torrance, right? Yeah. The one off like Hawthorne and Sepulveda. So I went there. I remember on the radio, Too Short, the rapper, was coming out with a new album, and he was there signing
to promote
it. I went there with like my uncle and and we met him. I got the album, I got it signed and all that on the CD. But that was the last time I ever went to that location before they closed that down in Torrance.
Wow.
No, I used to
It's a
rent
different
so many.
time.
I used to rent so many tapes, VHS from that place, and that's how I discovered like John Cassavetes, who's like the reason why I make movies. And like,
Yeah.
I told this the other night, but I'm like I didn't know who he was, but just the cover of Killing a Chinese Bookie, it's got a guy on the floor and he's bleeding. He's got a gun, and I rented it.
Yeah.
I said, I hate this movie. I said, I hated it. But, as you grow older, you appreciate stuff, and then, like, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And, like, had it not been for Tower Records, I would never have seen that movie. It's for sure. Because there wasn't any... There wasn't any... Well, I mean, there was, like, a New Beverly Cinema. There was, like, a 4-star theater. There were repertory, like, theaters, like the Fox in Venice. But... Cassavetes didn't put his movies out during that time. They were discovered after he died.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. And if not, I mean, maybe some were on cable back in the days. But
these weren't. These weren't. Like, he was like, everybody, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I think he was like, nobody wants my stuff, so you're not going to see it.
Okay.
Because he talks about in his book, like, they go to opening night, and, like, there's, like, 20 people there and they're rioting, and he says, forget it, no one's going to watch this movie.
And what Greg's saying too, John Cassavetes, he not only was a great filmmaker but also a really good actor too, really natural. And then I was fortunate because since Greg got me more familiar in one of our movies, I was able to base my character on him. His mannerisms and stuff. I loved it. And he.
That's right. In Boiling Point, you channel him for the Fury.
I did, and it was.
I'd like to say it's not a rip-off; it's more of an homage. But you channel John Cassavetes from the Fury, for sure. In Boiling Point,
as an actor, I mean, I love those types of challenges in those roles because it just. I just took over, and you take stuff. So I took some of his mannerisms or from interviews and some of his movies, but I just incorporated into a character. It wasn't, thank you. It wasn't an exact rip-off, exactly. I didn't want to do that, but at least a likeness of how he was. So that was really cool, and I learned more about him during that process than I ever knew before that.
Is that Gino over there?
Is it?
Did he fly in from Mass?
Gino!
I think I see Eric.
Hey guys! Yeah, they're our East Coast group.
So Louis, when is Yakuza Girl being done? Like, when are we gonna see this masterpiece?
Hopefully by the end of the month.
And it's a good one. It's a good one. I'm just curious. I want to.
I'm waiting to see the rough cut so I can make some notes and then we get that sucker out there.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I just want to add something that Louis. I'm so proud of him for Yakuza Girl because he came up with the idea. And he did it. He wrote an outline for it. He directed the movie. He had some good. He did some good action stuff in it. He's an amazing stunt guy. He knows how to work prop weapons and everything. And but your inspiration.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Definitely, because he
Thanks
came
to
up
you
with all
guys.
that.
Gave me the opportunity of a lifetime, right? If it wasn't for you guys, I'd be like. I don't know.
and then I want to add another thing too. Lewis is a very good DP. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's what he was doing early. He was still. That's what we were doing earlier today when we were at the studio. But
let me ask you on that note then. Like, who are your influences as a cinematographer then?
Gregory Hatanaka.
No. Then you're going into a downward spiral for that, for example. So
Come on, birthday boy.
Yeah.
You've given us more opportunities than we ever had.
Like, I don't have what's it called? There's movies I like that DPs have shot, but like my whole I don't want to get into the whole backstory, but like I always want to be an actor first.
Sure.
But then throughout the years, with social media and YouTube and people creating their own content, I'm like, I need to do that one day. I need to learn to make my own movie one day and stuff like that. So I was like, I want to learn how to run a camera. So throughout, at the very beginning of around 2009-10, I finally was like, I need to surround myself with people that know how to run camera. So I shadowed a couple of people and I just kept doing production. I knew production was the back door to Hollywood to be an actor. And a lot of actors don't do that. And but I could say movies that inspire me, to when it comes to the type of genre I like is like action. I like action and martial arts. The Van Damme movies, so Sylvester Stallone, Arnold, Bruce Willis, and
all great action stars. Yeah.
Like Death Wish with Charles Bronson.
Gosh, the classic.
Yeah, the classics and stuff. And so they shot a lot more simpler back then, with the way their cinematography is. I'm like, I could do that stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, they were first of all, they were, compared to us, they were luxurious shooting schedules. I mean, I think Death Wish 2 was like, shot over like 30 days.
Sure.
Might have been like 20.
Imagine that.
It might be like 20, and I know like Love Streams, that Canon Films, who made all the Bronson movies. Love Streams was like a 60-day shoot. So,
I think our top with Choke was what, 13 days, 12 days.
Well, I mean, I used to shoot 30 days, but it's different. But I mean, I don't know. It depends who the director is. Like, it depends what kind of director or filmmaker you want to be. But Kubrick was technically a DP. Mm-hmm. Nolan obviously is a DP. He knows the filmic qualities of like, if you do this, this is what happens. If you do this, this is what happens when it gets printed to 70 millimeter. And so like, and Steven Soderbergh, the same thing. So you can be that kind of director that is very aware of the technical stuff. Mm-hmm. Or you could be like Woody Allen, who doesn't really care, but he gets great DPs though. He gets like Gordon Willis, who did The Godfather, and he shoots Manhattan. He shoots Starter's Memories. Yeah. And Woody just says to the actors like, do this, and even Woody doesn't even speak to the actors. Mm-hmm. He focuses on the script, and then Gordon does this, and I think he also worked with Carlo De Palma and who else did he? No, he worked with Sven Nykvist for Hannah and Her Sisters, I think. Sven was
a classic.
Sven was Ingmar Bergman's DP.
Okay.
So he picks the right DPs, so he doesn't have to do it, and just lets them do it. So the Woody Allen movies, like some of them are incredibly cinematographic, like Manhattan.
Shot.
Which is great. So there's different ways of doing it.
White,
there's different ways of doing it, but I think like now, like every division is merging with each other. There aren't really costume designers anymore. There aren't, and the production designers merging with like props and wardrobe and all of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like sometimes the music is merging with sound effects and.
Right.
Like I'm gonna
the post production.
Well, I'm gonna start. Well, I mean, we have great composers, but we've been using like stock music, obviously. But but I want to try to attempt to try to compose one score,
original,
just one score, like the Amityville Theremin. I'll just compose one score and say I composed something. Big deal, but at least I did it. So
right.
Going back to the DPs, like I do love David Worth. He shot Bloodsport. He also
he's a director, isn't he? He's a director.
Yeah, and he directed Kickboxer.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, like those are the movies I grew up on. Like that's what I want to do. Like Van Damme movies. Like that's.
I'm gonna get another round. I'll be right back.
Cool. And then there's Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, let's talk about Chris. Did he really perform on set? I mean, did he do a good job?
He's stellar. He's one of our best. You could put him in any role, he'll do it. He's gung ho about it. He's done some pretty amazing roles and stuff that's edgy, that I won't do.
Good.
Yeah. Well, he's a true actor.
We brought him out of retirement then.
You got me out of retirement.
Just kidding.
No limits with Chris Spinelli.
I always, here's the no limits. Cheers.
No limits.
Cheers. Yeah. Some more people are coming in, and then more are coming. Leaving at the same time. So it's like
steady flow tonight.
Yeah. What's that place in New York? Not the Winter Garden. What was the place? The famous Tavern on the Green.
Studio 54.
Oh, there's yeah. I haven't been there.
Yeah, me either.
The rooftop with
I've been to 56.
No, there was like a famous. I'm not from New York, but there was like
230th and 5th.
There was like a famous bar in Tavern on the Green. And, well, there's
and
there was like Elaine's, which was a restaurant that you see in Woody Allen movies and other stuff like that. So, I mean, like.
Well, that's the thing. Woody Allen movies. I mean, they're the city is a character itself. New York City too.
Yeah, it becomes character.
Yeah. I can say probably there's LA movies too the same way.
But I'm pretty sure that that shot of the bridge in Manhattan,
right?
with Woody and Diane Keaton and Gordon Willis shooting it, like that was inspired by Saturday Night Fever because there's almost an exact shot. Now it wasn't
That same location.
It wasn't
right?
CinemaScope. Obviously, Saturday Night Fever was a cheaper movie to make.
Sure.
But it's the same feeling, the same inspiration.
Sure.
And so,
New York City's
you know,
a beautiful city.
You know, like in the day, like I forget, was it Truffaut's book or something? There's a book that, like, first of all, like in the '60s, they called them. I forgot what they called these guys. There was a group of them. It was like it was like Truffaut, Godard, Eric Romer, and there were all these like guys teaming up, and they were inspiring each other.
Right.
You know, so Godard would make a movie, and he was like, "Okay, I love that. I'm going to do this," and then they liked each other. So now these days, like everyone's competing against each other.
Yeah.
Say, screw you, screw this, screw that.
It's a different mentality.
And they're not inspiring each other.
No, that's
like,
what it is.
You know, like
art.
if I played,
Yeah.
if I played Wagner's Ring to you'll just say, "Hey," you'll just talk about an interview and never said that Greg said it. So that's you know, like there's this competition that you don't see because you know, and that points to what the state of the market is, which you know I mean whatever market there is honestly right now, because I tend to think
I don't get what the market is.
I tend to think it's a negative market. It's I mean there's very little pennies left, and everyone's competing for, you know,
their streaming time.
You know, like those bakeries, they give you the 7-day-old bread, or you know, everyone's
Oh,
fighting.
it's at a discount.
Remember
price.
those discount, like Wonder Bakery, like you get like instead of like $3, you get the bread for 50 cents. Everyone's fighting for that 50-cent bread now, and it's absurd. I don't get it.
Well, that's what our group of filmmakers or artists, you know, like Louis was touching upon it earlier, that we just found a really good group that we're not competitive. We all support each other and we play to our strengths, whatever it is. But we do wear a lot of hats.
No.
But it's a great environment to be in. Yeah, like you said, a lot of times it's putting out fires, but that's just production anyway. And
it makes you want to see the best in each other.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and we push each other, and at the same time we're family at the end of the night. So I mean, it's just a great way. I think that's why we're able to put out so many movies and so much content, and it's just a really good team.
Like, you know, I can see you doing this movie, like, so we always bouncing ideas off each other because you never know, and then it could turn into a script in a movie like the next day.
It can.
Like,
it can, and that's the state of the industry. I mean, with the streaming stuff, especially after you know, when all the emergence of Tubi and all this stuff, Pluto TV. I mean, we're able to get our work out there.
Yeah, but at the same point, like, it's like, you know, if you don't give context to somebody, to an audience, and like we're talking about, I mean, what's the audience here for now? Like, I mean, we're a population of what's the U.S. 600 million?
Like
I don't know what it
650
is.
million or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. It's nice to give them context. Like, you could say, like, okay, well, you know, I was inspired by, I don't know. What were you inspired by? Name a movie.
A lot of movies. So I mean, growing up, we were talking about them earlier. Clint Eastwood, Burt Reynolds movies. I mean, see, the thing is, in the younger generation to go back to, they might not understand this. You know, now with all the streaming stuff, which is a good thing for us, I think, because there's so much content out there. But when we were younger, there was 3 major networks. Fox came along a little later, so there's 4 networks. So you'd always get like a Saturday night movie, whether it was Jaws, whether it was Smokey and the Bandit, and those are the movies I grew to love. And I've said this in other interviews that I was fortunate because my parents were really good moviegoers, and so even at a young age, I would be going. I remember seeing Kramer vs. Kramer in the theater. One of my favorite movies, and it's kid-like, Cannonball Run.
Right. I like that movie.
And as fun as it is, I mean, it had one of the best ensemble casts, all these classic actors and singers and everything, but it's very entertaining. I haven't seen it in years, so I don't know how.
But I can say, like, if I say, like, I was inspired by Shoot the Moon, and you know, maybe there's like 2 scenes that appears in like Boiling Point from Shoot the Moon. Like, nobody would care, but at least they might have some kind of idea. Because honestly speaking, it's Shoot the Moon by Alan Parker, by the way, did Midnight Express. It's so far out of the audience climate that nobody is going to discover Shoot the Moon. Like, how will they? But yet this movie, like, you got Albert Finney, Diane Keaton, Tina Yothers. It's a fantastic movie.
Right.
And believe it or not, like I didn't know like Bob Seger did the song. Well, they have Bob Singer's song in it, but I didn't know Bob Singer when I first saw that movie because it's 1982, right? So so like these things like can influence you, like to discover even Bob Singer. Like Bob Singer didn't do the music for this movie, but they used Bob Singer's song.
Right.
And at the end, and at the end, they use the Eagles. They do the I Can't Tell You Why. The Look at This Baby.
Right.
So like had I never seen that movie, how would I come across Look at This Baby? I Can't Tell You Why and Still the Same, right?
So and back then it's like you had cable TV, but then at the same time there's only a certain limited amount of channels, but you would go to the movies and see this, or you would see it on HBO a year later, or Cinemax or something.
Right.
And it was just those types of movies. A lot of more audience saw it because there wasn't as many channels or avenues.
Do you remember On TV? Do you remember On TV?
On TV, no, because I was brought up in Denver, so I don't think they had that.
So this is a precursor to
On TV, no.
to cable, and literally there's a box, and you turn it on, and you watch movies.
Oh, okay.
That's how I saw like I think James Bond. I saw Last Embrace. Like you turn it on, it's a box.
Okay, no, I didn't. Maybe they had that in Denver, but we just whenever cable came out,
they'll show you something like from 9 a.m. to ultimately. I think this channel became like sports, but in the beginning, like when it first started in 1980, 81, you could see these movies. And then 9 p.m. it turns porn, and then you can't turn it on because unless you had the rights to.
Unless you were of age.
Unless you're paying $20 extra.
Right.
And Select TV was the same thing. Select TV had this green button. You press the button, and you could watch these movies, and then porn at midnight or whatever. So.
But our cable channel had the Playboy channel or whatever. But but you had to obviously pay.
So I guess this was a California thing, and then it turned into, and then obviously we had Z Channel, which. Everyone knows that the Z Channel was an amazing channel that brought the best stuff. I mean that's how you discovered Kurosawa and Once Upon a Time in America. All this stuff.
Right.
So
because once we
Fellini, you discovered Fellini.
Once we got cable, I want to say it had been around 1982 or so, and then I was fortunate because. My parents paid for HBO, so that's why I saw a lot of movies back then on HBO, and I think the pattern was like if you had a theatrical release, movies on HBO or those other Showtime or Cinemax would be probably about a year later after the release. But so the movies, if they were brand new on HBO, they were probably about a year old from theatrical release. Yeah. But whatever movies I didn't catch in the theater, I would be able to watch, and they would repeat them. So I remember like there are movies like Ragtime or something that I probably saw like 50 times because I never saw it in the theater, but I'd see it on HBO because on every afternoon for like a month or so. But that's how
my grandparents
they rotated.
that raised me. I'm born in '82, so as long as I remember, they always had cable, and then eventually they had HBO and Cinemax and all that too. And
you were born '82, so you watched cable in torrents or what?
Torrents, yeah.
So that would have been Group W. Do you remember the clown? The clown, and they were doing Gollywood's Cakewalk, and the clown is like dancing. That was like that was the
But my grandparents and family were so big on movies, like they collected VHSs at that time. I wish we had them. The only VHSs that we had out of like 400 of them, I only have my Van Damme movies. That's it. I have Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Death Warrant, and Lionheart.
So and you're probably too young though. So you never went to like Old Town Mall, the United Artists Theater, the Men Theater.
I saw. Dude, I saw.
So they had some good stuff there.
Well, I saw Ninja Turtles there. In '91. Then when T2 came out, Terminator 2, that was huge. Cinematic experience. Like
so there was Old Town Mall, and there was the UA Del Amo. Remember that? UA Del Amo, or was it closed down by that time?
Probably closed down.
United Artists Del Amo.
I remember Old Town Mall.
It was in the mall. No, Del Amo Mall. Del Amo Mall. Upstairs, the United Artists.
It was up there.
You remember? So those two were like amazing. But by the time you were watching movies, you were probably at that place that's now a gym. It was the Man. Remember downstairs,
right
across from the Target.
Well, you were talking about South Bay Galleria.
No. Further, where the Target is on Sepulveda.
Where Sears was.
There was a theater across the street.
Right.
They were running stuff. Like I saw Rumble in the Bronx premiered there. in '92. That was a good theater.
Yeah.
And it was all like stadium. But it was an underground theater. Like you had to go down, and it was all stadium.
It was probably cooler.
Exactly.
Over the, I remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I used to work for LA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I worked at AMC Rolling Hills.
Rolling Hills. Yeah.
Not the new one, but the old Rolling
Old
Hills.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
when I grew up in Denver, there was like a mall called Tamarack Square, and by the way, they had a good pizza place called Scotto's Pizza. Scotto's Pizza because I was born in New Jersey, and that was like the only place where we could find New York pizza. But Tamarack Square had a man theaters, and that's where I saw a lot of movies when I was growing up. Then they had Tiffany Plaza, which was another mall across the street where they had an AMC theater. And then in high school, that's where I worked. That's the AMC theater I worked at.
Yeah, okay.
It was
and the funny, my first day on the job, I had to clean popcorn for Teenage Mutant.
Oh, that's funny.
My first day at the job at AMC, I cleaned up popcorn.
I was in the concession stand.
I was going to ask you, what was the movie theater by the South Bay Galleria that was the bowling alley? There was like 3 theaters there. Remember that one was connected to the bowling alley?
That was the General Cinemas.
General.
And they would do Rocky Horror every.
Like a live.
So the Rocky Horror was a separate building. And there was a second building that had other stuff,
and sing and everything. They had that in Denver.
But you talk about like David Worth, for example, like the United Artists Del Amo. So like each chain had different stuff going on. Like they would get supplied from whatever, the zoning laws, like whatever. Like a distributor wouldn't give you like Ghostbusters, and you couldn't do Del Amo, and you couldn't do Old Town at the same time. You couldn't because you're too close.
So you think different movies.
So United Artists had to pick up independent stuff. So UA had like those David Worth movies.
Oh, okay.
So and the Andy Sedaris stuff and the Andrew Stevens stuff. They showed that stuff, and that's what. So I would go like UA to see that kind of stuff.
Right, you would go to that theater. Yeah.
And then pretty soon, like Man couldn't get big movies, so Man Old Town, theaters. And so then those movies were showing there, because AMC Rolling Hills was the big one at that time. They got everything.
They had all the mainstream.
They had everything
stuff
they wanted. Yeah.
Did they have one off Silver Spur at that off Hawthorne?
Yeah, that was Krikorian.
Yeah.
Krikorian.
That was Krikorian. Yeah. But I told you, I think I was telling you the other day or something, like they were like shoe boxes. They were very tiny, the screens. So every movie was shown in CinemaScope. So they were cropping regular movies tight. So like a wide shot became a close up.
Oh wow!
And that's how
that's got to throw you off
to fill the whole screen. Because if you don't fill the whole screen, it looks like you're watching a TV. So they had to do the whole wide. And so like every single movie was like wide screen. So
that must have been annoying.
No. I complained, but I got to see like La Femme Nikita there, and that's a widescreen movie, so you're not getting cropped off. But there's other stuff like it would be cropped off, and it's like okay. And I was telling him like
that's like edited for television.
I was like this is like you're making close up, you're making wide shots, you're making close ups, you're making wide shots into close ups.
Boy, that's like what they do on TV. Like when it's edited for television, they would crop stuff because it fit on a TV screen.
Well, that's kind of.
But that's different because
I was never a projectionist at AMC Rolling Hills, but I was very conscious of the projection going on, and so like when they would be running like Betsy's Wedding, like at that time they would run 2 movies in the same theater because there wasn't any money. So like Betsy's Wedding with Ellen Alda was running in the same theater as Red October, right?
Yeah.
So Red October is a widescreen movie, so the screen has to be wide and small. So then run Betsy's Wedding, which was like a square, more of a square movie, right?
Right.
But he's running it tight like this, and I was telling the guy, you can't run it like that. He says nobody cares. So
unbelievable.
See, and that's where you had the niche already to be a perfectionist, be a filmmaker. I think when I was at AMC, I was just happy to get the free popcorn. I was sneaking that stuff. Get some more butter on that. But I guess that's why I'm an actor.
But those memories, though, I mean, it's like you get you get inspired by this stuff.
You do, and it becomes your childhood or your memories. No matter how age, you could be child, teenager, or whatever. It doesn't.
Well, yeah, I mean that stuff is running 24 frames a second, and it's celluloid. It's a light bulb pointing through a piece of film. It's not numbers and cents, and now
But you know what? It's funny. At an early age, I remember going to movies all the time, and I had this little tradition with myself. I was almost like obsessed. I would always look up because I wanted to see the light going across the thing. And I would, and obviously you don't really get that these days, but that I remember that doing that from an early age, and just I'd always just like look up.
It's an
want to
experience,
see it
man.
being projected on that big screen.
It's like when you saw that, especially remember the old logo for HBO.
Yes, I grew up. Yeah,
and they had the set,
little model. Yeah, oh yeah.
Like you knew you were gonna see a good movie.
Yeah, HBO and Cinemax like the
exactly.
The following movie has been rated PG by the Russian Picture
Association of America. Parental guidance is suggested.
And then it was like R, like a special R, like a hard R.
Yeah.
Like, the following movie is rated R. Okay. Due to special circumstances, it contains more sexual content. You know, parents are cautioned.
Yeah, 9.5 weeks.
But what's amazing, like in terrestrial television, like local syndication television, because I don't think Ella Jazz ever had a national release on television because it's a difficult movie. But in LA, they ran it uncut with nudity. Like they ran it on Channel 13 KCOP with nudity. Like,
like the local.
Like, and every 10 minutes after commercial, they say, "Please be warned, this is uncut."
And then you get like a disclaimer.
There's sexual situations going. But like, when are you going to see a movie like completely uncut for like the free audience?
Yeah, because they used to
I
always
guess you do on
cut
Tubi, but not on terrestrial like free TV.
Because they always used to edit, or I'd watch the Blues Brothers or something on the local channel in Denver, and of course they would edit the cussing. They would edit certain things.
Like
all those movies.
Like with the cussing for TV, how they edited that out. Like I got like my grandmother, my uncles, and like their favorite movies on, and they know all the bad words, and they will like say the lines with the actor on the screen, and I'm like.
They're filling in
my
the
grandmother's
blanks.
like, like the actual movie, they say, F this and that.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Like you're getting the full experience. So it's like a bleep or like they say stupid or something.
I mean, let's not.
VHS, we should put it in instead.
Let's not forget the airing of Grease. Grease Lightning is chopped up.
Oh yeah.
The Grease Lightning.
Because he has some sexual stuff.
It's totally chopped up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. There's
not to forget, Saturday Night Fever. They made a PG version.
Right.
So.
Well, I remember The Jerk, because Steve Martin's one of my favorite comedians, and The Jerk would be on TV, and the real thing, the dog, he'd call the dog shithead. But then, like, and it was like, "Hey, stupid, come here!" But someone got paid to say stupid instead of shithead. Yeah.
Well, I got another example. 9 to 5. Remember at the end?
I love 9 to 5. That's a great movie.
Remember they send the lady away to France?
Yeah,
while they're building it?
Yeah.
So the CBS TV version, like she comes in to Mr. Hart's office or something. In the CBS version. Well, okay. Let's say the theatrical version. And I did see the theatrical 80 version, and she goes into the office and she says "Holy Mary," which means "holy shit," right?
Yeah. Yes.
So the CBS version is like "Mon Dieu," which means "my God."
I saw that movie,
and it was dubbed in.
Yeah. I did remember seeing that in the theater. Now at that time it was probably over my head what she was saying.
Holy Mary, yeah.
But then I've seen it on TV. That's how it was. Though. It was edited for television, because they could play it on a Friday night or Saturday, and anyone could watch it. Didn't matter.
But my point is that at least you could experience these films. I mean, even if it's edited, I know people say, why is it edited? Why is it edited? These days, like on streaming, why is it edited? At least you could experience all this stuff that you didn't,
right.
I can see Kingdom of the Spiders, and then at the time there was national TV, so that would be like your James Bond movie. That would be like your
those.
Your Every Which Way But Loose.
Jaws was also
that'd be your Jaws.
Jaws too.
But then there was this syndication where each city could show their own movies,
right?
And then you could see like Kingdom of the Spiders. You could see Sonny Chiba. You could see Dario Argento.
I remember they had Marathon Man once on one of the
that was
local
national. That was national.
But even like on the local Denver channel, I remember they had that. It would be national exactly.
Yes.
But then I think Stripes was on a Bill
Murray
movie.
Yeah. I mean, like it was great that like you could unite an audience and like maybe 5 million people are watching.
Exactly, because like I said, that it was
10 million are watching Sound of Music at the same time.
So exactly, because you had CBS, NBC, ABC, and maybe your couple local city channels, like and that's those were your outlets.
But now you're not
you're
not unifying anyone by having 50,000 choices, and then, unless it's like a football game or whatever.
Yeah, like a
you know what I mean?
right. Then the sporting thing you might.
Yeah.
Or the Olympics are coming up, so you're going to have millions of people watching the same thing. But to go back to music and stuff, I mean, I grew up also the MTV generation, so when they showed video music, it was great because, I mean, that was like the main outlet, and you would be, not only would you hear the music, and like we were saying, you would sample music at Virgin Megastore or whatever, but that was like basically advertising for music, and also you were able to you'd see how these bands looked, or these artists looked, whether it was The Police, or Duran Duran, whatever, and that was a really good, in that same situation where you had millions of people watching that station, but now it's just like I'll hear a song on the radio, or maybe for years now. I'm talking about newer bands. I don't even know what they look like because I don't have a video to associate myself with. But I mean, that was a guideline too for me in terms of music.
It was a big deal because I remember like MTV. I mean, my clearest memory was like probably 6th grade. Living in Redondo Beach, and like you want to just come home and hurry up and put on MTV.
I do it all the time
too. Had, Ugly Kid Joe will play, and Metallica, Megadeth.
The headbanger stuff.
Yeah, all the alternative stuff started like hit around that time, the early '90s.
They had a great show called.
They
had a great show on MTV called 120 Minutes. I think it was every Sunday night. It was 2 hours of like Depeche Mode or The Cure. So I mean, they catered to different genres of music, just like you're saying, but. Then grunge hit, and
I didn't grow up to punk because that's like before my time, right? But the closest I got to punk was like Suicidal Tendencies.
That
you know
was
what I mean? Like
too,
that was I seen them in '94 when I was 12 years old. When Metallica did their I forgot the name of the concert they did. It was like 75,000 people. So Metallica closed out the show, right? When I was in line, Candlebox just performed, and I got in there to see them play their last songs, and then Suicidal came on, and then Metallica closed it out, and then you get 75,000 people. I'm like this little 12-year-old kid.
You were right in the middle.
I was almost gonna get killed, dude. It was wild, man.
That is crazy.
I grew up that time period when that type of music was really.
But don't forget there were other ways to discover music also, because you had Night Flight, you had.
You did,
What are those other stations?
KNAC. We used to listen to KNAC.
And
VH1 came out eventually.
VH1.
But Night Flight was a special. They had video music shows on, like on a Friday night.
Like you had other ways to discover music videos.
And maybe USA Network maybe had something that they would do too. So you would. It wasn't just MTV, but MTV was the main thing.
Main one, yeah.
But of course, right? We're talking about Metallica, of course, and then there was the headbanger trend when you'd always get Motley Crue, you'd always get
Motley Crue, Skid Row, White Snake,
exactly, White Snake,
Leopard, dude,
all huge.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to see Def Leppard in August. They're going to be at SoFi.
Same original band, same drummer with
an arm. I've got a Def Leppard. Yeah, so my high school buddy and I, we saw Def Leppard. It was the Hysteria tour. So the concert was February of 1988. It was a Friday night at McNichols Sports Arena in Denver, which doesn't exist anymore. One of the best concerts I ever went to because they had the stage in the middle of the arena. Being a teenager, went to the concert Friday night. Saturday, I went skiing. And I was still deaf from Def Leppard, no pun intended. But it was crazy. I would ski a lot when I was growing up, so I went skiing the next day. But it's a fun memory.
I believe it, man. Yeah, my aunts and uncles were they were into the headbanger stuff, and that really influenced me. I remember when on KNAC, the radio station, they had on Monday night they had Dangerous Darren that had Mandatory Metallica.
KLAC?
KNAC.
I remember that. I remember that.
So and I used to be like, I was like 13 years old. I'm like, I have my little cassette tape in my radio boombox, and I'm like trying to press record, record Mandatory Metallica at 9 p.m. on a Monday night and stuff like that. And you hear Dangerous Darren talking about the garage days and all the stories, because I guess he knew James Hetfield at that time, at least.
And they're still around. Metallica's still touring.
No, they're still huge. I want to see them again before they get any older.
I've never seen them.
They're amazing. Like the top. I only been to so many concerts, but Metallica #1, Linkin Park #2.
Oh, Linkin Park.
I seen them at the Sunset Music Festival.
Yeah.
Off Sunset, man. I worked a
Linkin Park
catering
at
gig,
every
and we had VIP area in the booth. Like, we had our catering right there, and then, like, open bar and all that. So then I ran into some chicks from high school. I was drinking and working at the same time. Made a lot of money. And saw the original, Linkin Park when Chester was still alive, man.
Yeah,
it was
freaking
soul.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, they had a unique sound,
Yep.
too, because they would do, just the heavy stuff, kind of rap stuff. It was
amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best bands ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of my time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're talking like early 2000s or even late 90s.
Late 90s, 2000s. Yeah.
Yep.
Good times.
Yeah.
Where's our waiter? Warman.
We're just on a liquid diet right now.
All right.
Where are you, Warman? Come here. Louis says hi to you.
Hey, Warman, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, take a seat with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a star of an upcoming movie. Want to tell us about your experience with being a star? You're on a poster. A Man Is Dead.
Not bad. It's exciting.
It is exciting. Would you do it again?
Not sure.
Well, hopefully you'll change your mind eventually. But yes, A Man Is Dead. Trailer's out right now. Poster's out.
I noticed you were talking about things like listening stations and Tower Records and versions. I grew up with that too. I remember all that.
So I mean, I remember you like a lot of music, Warren, and I remember sometimes you get CDs. I remember you got Aerosmith. Was it Toys in the Attic or which one?
From the library.
Yeah. Is Aerosmith one of your favorite bands then? Or
I guess they are.
who else do you like then?
Van Halen, AC/DC, Children of the Black Cards,
All good stuff.
The Cars.
Yeah, all great stuff. It's good. All classic music. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
It's making movies.
Yeah,
right?
we're making movies.
So-
Yeah, making movies and talking a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I like this bar. You don't. There's no pressure, so.
No, they welcomed us very nicely.
Some people just walked in. But did you see that prime rib that those
Prime
other
rib.
people are having?
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go from that right now.
Like, the mashed
There's,
potatoes too. Yeah.
I like the guy's hat and his suit and maybe. Can you snag that for me? His
I
hat.
can't. Well, it's amazing. He's got a matching cane. It's pretty good. That's a good look.
Kind of looks like the one that you use in Raw. Huh?
Yeah. Which I think I stole the accessories for that, by the way. I'm gonna keep it for myself.
Okay, guys. Well, that was the last round, and I'll see you.
See y'all soon.
When's call time? Tomorrow.
We'll see you in an hour.
Yeah. See you at call times in an hour.
Okay. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
This has been a presentation from the Prodigy Media Group in association with Cinema Epoch and Cineridge Entertainment. Funding for this program has been provided by the Halson Arts Foundation, the Laxo Initiative, Sankahodo Media, Jack Papadas Enterprises, Shanlado Alternatives, Chinggis Khan Circle, Fujimoto Taro Kizaemon no Shotokinori Council, and from listeners like you. Thank you for listening.